Standard Oil, the perfect monopoly. By 1880, John D. Rockefeller's Standard Oil controlled approximately 90% of all oil refining in the United States. It was the most complete commercial dominance any company had ever achieved, and it forced the world to think seriously about what unchecked corporate power could mean. By Sleep to Business Genius, Business History, United States, 1870 to 1880. A Standard Oil refinery complex, one of hundreds that Rockefeller consolidated under a single corporate umbrella, giving him near-total control of the American oil industry. Let your thoughts settle. And consider what it takes to control an entire industry. John D. Rockefeller was 23 years old when he entered the oil business in Cleveland in 1863, 4 years after Drake's discovery. He was already a methodical, disciplined businessman, a bookkeeper by training who had an almost physical aversion to waste and inefficiency. What he saw in the oil industry horrified him. Wild price swings, reckless overproduction, cutthroat competition that destroyed profits and destabilized investment. He decided to impose order. His method was systematic acquisition. Standard Oil of Ohio, founded in 1870, began buying up Cleveland's refineries one by one, often at prices the sellers could not refuse. By 1872, Rockefeller controlled 22 of Cleveland's 26 refineries. He then turned to the pipeline networks that transported crude oil, the railroads that carried petroleum products, and the distribution companies that sold them to consumers. By 1880, Standard Oil processed roughly 9 of every 10 barrels of oil refined in America. Rockefeller did not build a monopoly through luck or brutality alone. He built it through relentless efficiency, strategic mastery, and the patient accumulation of every link in the supply chain. Standard Oil was the most perfectly integrated corporation the world had ever seen. The trust structure. United States of 1879 to 1882, how Standard Oil organized its dominance. The legal mechanism Rockefeller used to consolidate his empire was the trust, a structure in which the shareholders of multiple companies transferred their stock to a group of trustees who then managed all the companies as a unified whole. The Standard Oil Trust, formalized in 1882, brought together 40 companies under the direction of 9 trustees, with Rockefeller as the dominant figure. It was a corporate innovation that allowed coordination at unprecedented scale while sidestepping state laws that prevented companies from owning stock in firms chartered in other states. The trust structure created efficiencies that made Standard Oil genuinely formidable on economic grounds. By coordinating production, transportation, and distribution across dozens of formerly competing companies, Rockefeller could eliminate duplication, negotiate bulk rates with railroads, and drive down the cost of refined oil dramatically. The price of kerosene fell from 26 cents per gallon in 1870 to 8 cents in 1885. Consumers, in the short term, benefited. Briefcase: the secret rebates. Standard Oil's competitive edge was not purely operational. The company negotiated secret preferential railroad freight rates, and eventually secret rebates on its competitors' shipments as well, meaning Standard was paid a portion of every barrel its rivals shipped. This practice, exposed by journalist Ida Tarbell in her landmark 1904 investigation, The History of the Standard Oil Company, helped build the public case for antitrust action. The price of dominance. By 1890, Standard Oil was one of the most profitable enterprises in human history. Rockefeller himself was on his way to becoming the wealthiest individual who had ever lived, with a fortune that at its peak represented roughly 1.5% of the entire U.S. economy. But the methods by which that fortune was accumulated, predatory pricing, secret railroad rebates, industrial espionage, and the systematic elimination of competition, had made Standard Oil a symbol of corporate excess. The Sherman Antitrust Act of 1890 was passed in direct response to the public alarm that Standard Oil and similar trusts had generated. And in 1911, the Supreme Court ordered Standard Oil broken up into 34 separate companies. Those successor companies, including entities that would eventually become ExxonMobil, Chevron, and BP America, are among the largest corporations in the world today. 90% of an industry. One man. One lesson the world has never stopped learning. Tags: Standard Oil, a Rockefeller monopoly, oil history, business history, antitrust, a corporate history, sleep learning, economic history.